All right, welcome to it, right? Welcome to it. Welcome to this time of virtual schooling. Welcome to this time of, oh my gosh, what are we doing, right? But you know what? Look, we're going to strive forward. We're going to keep pushing. And why we're here today is we are going to talk about how to make a flip on a Mac, right? So we're doing this on a MacBook Air right now, and I'm going to be giving you some nice solid instruction on how to do this, right? Now, we did make one of these already, but unfortunately, this happened. And also, there's banjo videos because my dad, uses my YouTube account, and he's a bluegrass musician. Now, look, sometimes things like this occur. Sometimes technology whiffs on us a little bit, and you know what? It's going to be okay, though, right? So let's talk about really quick, the purposes behind a flip, and I'll use kind of little clips of my flips and little clips of Miss Palladino's flips to kind of try and explain to you really quick exactly how all this stuff works and exactly what we use them for, right? Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw up an example of one of my flips real quick. As you can see, the biggest thing about my flips is I use them just kind of how any history teacher would use them, right? Your history teachers usually stand up in front of the class and they have a PowerPoint running or some type of presentation software going, and they're just kind of moving through notes slowly, right? And usually in class, you're sitting in your desk and you're just sitting there and you're writing things down. Mine's the narrative, right? I just put my face over a PowerPoint and I just keep rolling like I would any other day or whatever, right? That's where most of my content's delivered. Now, the fun part for me is I'm going to have to now figure out what do I do with all my in-class review elements, right? That's going to be my big thing. How do I make really good review activities virtual, right? Which, you know what? For the first week, a lot of trial and error, but we're going to get through it, right? We're going to get through this. We're going to use a lot of different elements like everything, trial and error. If you stumble upon something cool that I might be able to use, please shoot it my way because I'm trying to come up with as many creative ideas as possible, right? So anyway, now this is how Miss Palladino uses hers, right? So Casey's a lot more about singular concepts, right? She likes to take certain things on her coffee chats, which is one of the cutest things I've ever heard in my entire life, and she actually goes deep diving into singular constant content, right? So she'll do a flip based on one big thematic thing. Like, let's say hypothetically, she'll include one big, the discovery of the Holocaust in World War II, or D-Day itself, or whatever, right? That's how she does her thing. It's very, very neat. It's very innovative. I like it a lot personally, especially for her field, U.S. history, which is working with a whole year's worth of time to only study maybe give or take 300 and something years. Whereas my content denotes going through the notes like you would naturally, because I got several thousand years that I've got to cover in a year, right? So I highly recommend the following things for different classes, right? Science teachers definitely use this to explain big concepts, reactions, different things like that, right? Math teachers use this, and actually, I saw Lenny LeCarbonche, my man was literally drawing triangles up here and getting after it with a whiteboard behind him. I believe that we have access to some whiteboards here at school, right? But now, that's how we use them. What's the big kicker? How to make them, right? So let's go ahead and take 2 seconds to actually talk about how we're going to make these bad boys, all right? So there's our little checklist of things we got to get covered, right? Now, as you can tell, I went ahead and wrote all these things up here. I increased the speed. I had some goofy little gimmicks and stuff. You don't have to do all that stuff, right? Because you only really need 3 things to make a flip, right? You need, first and foremost, this software right here, right? It's known as QuickTime, right? I'm going to go ahead and show you a little screencast really quick of how to find QuickTime, right? So normally QuickTime is a completely standard software that comes on any Mac whatsoever, right? So the greatest thing about QuickTime is you can use it to make a flip out the box, right? QuickTime has a certain kind of set of functions on it known as screen recording, right? As well as screen capture, okay? So you can use QuickTime to actually just record your entire screen. If you want to move through a PowerPoint, if you want to move through something else, that's all you need to make a flip, right? You just need, I'm sorry, I touched my hair a lot. All right, so now, anyway, you just need QuickTime. That's all, right? Now, using QuickTime, the only thing that's going to be present is your voice, right? You're just going to hear your voice, and that's going to be about it, right? So the greatest thing about QuickTime, though, if you don't have it or can't find it on your Mac, right, navigate through, go to your Finder. It'll be somewhere in your applications, or it'll be on this thing known as your Launchpad, right, which I'll show you in about 2 seconds. If you take about all 4 of your fingers right here, you put them on the touchpad and go Whoop, right there's your Launchpad right there. Now, what I highly recommend that you do from your Launchpad real quick, and I'll show you a little screencast of this as well, go ahead and move QuickTime onto your bar at the bottom, your hot bar, right? Your bar, not hot bar like at Robert's, which I called Roberts for about 2 weeks. Hot bar at the bottom that actually designates all the programs that you use really, really often. And you're going to go ahead and drag that bad boy on down. You're going to pin him to your hotbar down at the bottom, right? So that is the biggest thing about recording all this stuff. It's really not that difficult. It's very, very easy. You just hit right-click, new screen recording, wait for whatever comes up, right? On the old Macs, it used to be just a little gray bar, right? Now, really, really quick, though, couple of key points, okay? I'm going to go ahead and jot these things up here, right? Make sure the mic is on, all right? Mic is on, all right? So make sure your microphone is on, right? If your microphone's not on, it's not going to pick up any of the audio. Now, you can do this by running a couple of little test flips, right? Run about like 2 10-second flips where you're just like, hey, testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. If you got no sound, that means that your microphone is not on, right? If your microphone's not on, you can easily navigate over to the little gray box if you have the pre-Catalina software, and you go ahead and just click that little down arrow and go ahead and turn on internal microphone. Or if you have the post-Catalina software, you go to the options over at the right, click down, go ahead and make sure that your microphone is on, right? So that's the easiest part about all this different stuff, is going ahead and getting everything ready to set up. QuickTime is the easiest thing though. When you're ready to stop, you're just gonna navigate on up to the little top bar up here at the very, very top, and there's gonna be like a little stop recording. Once it gets going, you hit stop. It's gonna go ahead and put that bad boy up on your screen. You're gonna go ahead and hit save, right? Go ahead and click save, and when you hit save, save it to your desktop, right? Save it to your desktop, makes it much, much easier to find, right? Now, for the next couple of optional things, what you need to do. When you save it to your desktop, you have a couple of options. What a lot of teachers like Ms. Palladino like to do, they like to go ahead and take the flip, and they like to drag it into Google Drive, where it will then convert it into a format that Google accepts. You can then take it from Google Drive and share it with your girls on Google Classroom, right? That's one method you can do. Or you can use my method, which is uploading to YouTube. And I'll go ahead and throw up a little screencast of my YouTube channel real quick so you can see what it looks like. I do this because it's very, very easy to access, and that way I'm not using up the girls' computer space or my computer space. I'm only using up YouTube's computer space, right? Now, if you want to use YouTube, you can do a lot of other different things, which we'll get to here in a second when we talk about this key point, iMovie, right? Which is a very, very useful, easy to use software, right? But let's go ahead and jump to this whole thing, right? Some of y'all are like, I kind of want them to be able to see me. If I'm going to be doing math, I got to be able to draw, right? I got to be able to show them things like my man Lenny LeCarpentier is already doing, right? So Screeny is going to be the app that we use for that, right? So I'm going to show you really quick how to find Screeny, right? You're going to go ahead and go into your app store and you're going to type in Screeny, right? You go ahead and type in Screeny and it'll pop right up. The logo is a little film box, right? With an arrow cursor inside of it, okay? You're going to go ahead and hit get, okay? Make sure you know your Apple ID and password for when you want to download certain things. And if you forgot them, there's a helpful little link at the bottom that says forgot Apple ID password, right? But you're going to go ahead and download Screeny, right? Download Screeny onto your actual physical MacBook computer. And then same thing like we did with QuickTime. We're going to go ahead and go into our Launchpad, or we're going to find Screeny, and we're going to pin it to our hotbar down here at the bottom, right? It's very, very important because then you got your flipping tools right there at your disposal, right? Now, what you're going to notice when you open Screeny, though, a couple of other little random controls are going to come up, right? It's going to have a record button and a little, you can record this section thing. Be careful. Just X out of it, right? If you just X out of all that stuff, it'll leave you with just this, the frame, right? The picture frame that you can actually see us in, and you know that it's using it because it's using this little purple and teal frame box. If you're getting nothing but a black window on the actual Screeny app itself, that means you haven't enabled your forward-facing camera, so you'll roll down to the little gray box, you'll hit the click over, and you'll make sure that your forward-facing camera is engaged, right? So that way you can use Screeny while you're flipping, and it'll give you like some little visual stimuli for the girls to be able to actually see. I love it. I think personally it adds a nice little touch to your flips, and it keeps them kind of like, oh, they're here with me, they're keeping me accountable, I'll stay accountable. I think it's awesome stuff, right? Now, the last thing, the very, very optional thing is the iMovie thing, right? So again, just to reiterate, this and this, I'm going to go ahead and put like some little like other notes in there, right? So these two things are completely optional, right? You don't have to use them, right? You can just use QuickTime to make your flip all by its lonesome, right? So Screeny is what I use so you can see me. iMovie is what I use so I can throw it into YouTube real quick, right? And I used iMovie to like increase the speed on some of these clips, to throw some of my other clips inside of it, right? And it's very, very user-friendly. I would highly suggest if you want to kind of dress up your flips a little bit, just play around with it. I swear I need a haircut. All right, so anyway, I'm about to just buzz this off. You know what? Corona haircut. Just let it go. All right, so now anyway, the number one thing, though, using iMovie is just to not get frustrated. And when you're ready to upload your entire film, right, your entire new product, when you download your stuff into iMovie, you move it into the bar at the bottom, you create a new project, you can then just hit simply share in the top right corner, and I send it to YouTube, or you can make it into a file that's a little bit more user-friendly with Google Drive from iMovie, right? So that right there is how to make a flip using a MacBook computer, right? Remember, go back through this. Here's the greatest thing about flips. You watch this 1,000 times, right? I know some of y'all immediately, I know Ms. Mull immediately is going to be like, oh man, he talked fast again, right? So check this out. Let's just go over them again, right? All you need is QuickTime, right? All you need is QuickTime, and that'll just record your voice over the microphone, right? And that'll be the biggest thing for you. You'll right-click that, right? Just a quick review. You right-click QuickTime down here on the bottom, down here. And since I'm already recording, you would hit New Screen Recording, and you would go ahead and start your new screen recording, right? And once you hit the record button and test it out a couple of times, bang, you're flipping out the gate. All you need is QuickTime, right? If you want the girls to be able to see you, then you're going to be able to use this thing right here called Screeny, right? Screeny is going to be the app that looks like this, right? And then that way it'll be able to record you with your forward-facing camera, right? Remember, when you open Screeny, you have to enable your camera. There's like a little computer screen and then a little camera button. You hit that toggle over and it lets it like actually record your face, right? So that's a huge thing, right? Make sure on QuickTime your mic is on, right? Make sure on Screeny that your camera is on. And if you want to use iMovie to edit it down at all, which you do not have to, it's completely optional, then go for it. And you can throw it into a YouTube channel that's completely free, right? And if any of y'all get YouTube famous before me, I'm going to be really, really angry. All right, so now anyway, really fast though, this is all it is. And here's the most important thing. If you need me, email me, right? If you need me, email me, please, all right? If you need me, email me, right? Also, if you would rather have a phone conversation with me or a FaceTime or something like that so we can get this stuff off the ground, please do that, right? I know I'm very available for this. Nick Cotton is very available for this, and so is Casey, right? We are very available, and we want to help you out. And if you email me like, hey, I'm struggling, I'll send you my phone number, and we'll conference chat over it. But this stuff is not that hard, I promise. And once you do it once or twice, you're going to be a pro at it, an absolute champion, and you're just going to keep rolling, all right? So if you need anything, please let me know. Please also appreciate how awesome my art is. That's the best Apple sign that I've ever drawn ever. All right, so, and this is your little checklist. Remember, you only really need QuickTime. The other two are optional, right? So that's where we're going to cut it. There you go. That's how you make a flip. I'll see you guys later. Y'all have a good one.